Most people think they know Bosnia and Herzegovina. They picture a small country somewhere in the Balkans, probably defined by a war that ended 30 years ago. Maybe they recognise a stone bridge over turquoise water. That single image has become the entire country for millions of outsiders. But the actual country sitting behind that image is one of the most misread in Europe. Bosnia and Herzegovina sits in southeastern Europe, wedged between Croatia to the west and Serbia to the east. It covers roughly 51,000 square kilometres, about the size of West Virginia. It sits at the exact point where Central Europe, the Balkans and the Mediterranean world collide. That position shaped everything. Roughly 80% of the country is mountainous. The Dinaric Alps run through the interior, creating a terrain that isolates valleys and separates communities. But between those mountains, rivers carve the country open. The Neretva, the Una, the Vrbas, the Bosna, the Drina. Bosnia has more rivers per square kilometre than almost any country in Europe. Those rivers determined where every major town was built. Follow the water and you follow the history. Inside a space the size of West Virginia, there are river gorges deeper than anything in Western Europe, mountain villages above 2,000 metres still inhabited in summer. And Ottoman-era cities that have been continuously lived in for over 5 centuries. And then there is a coastline on the Adriatic Sea, 24 kilometres long. Almost no one outside the region expects it to exist. 4 distinct imperial systems governed or shaped this land in the past 6 centuries: Ottoman, Austro-Hungarian, Yugoslav and the post-war structure that exists today. Yet daily life runs on something simpler: coffee, conversation, and a layered coexistence that has been building for 500 years. This is not a country frozen in the past. It is one of Europe's most misread countries, and the next 20 minutes will show why. But to understand why this country reads so differently from its neighbours, you have to start where it all converges, in a city that carries 4 empires. In its streets. Walk east through Sarajevo and you are in an Ottoman bazaar. Walk 10 minutes west and the architecture becomes Habsburg Vienna. Keep going and you reach Yugoslav-era concrete. The city does not hide its layers as it displays them. Sarajevo sits in a narrow river valley, surrounded by mountains on every side. That geography forced everything into one corridor: empires, religions, trade routes, and the people who live among all of it. The oldest layer is Başçarşıya, the bazaar district founded in the 15th century under Ottoman rule. Coppersmiths still work in the same narrow lanes where their trade began over 500 years ago. The stone is worn smooth underfoot. The lanes curve the way Ottoman markets always do: inward, layered, designed for walking. Then, within a few hundred metres, the city changes. When Austro-Hungary took control in 1878, they did not tear down the Ottoman city. They built a new one next to it. Wide boulevards, public gardens, a national library in a pseudo-Moorish style, all within walking distance of the bazaar. Sarajevo might be the only capital in Europe where you can hear the call to prayer and church bells within the same minute. The Gazi Husrev Beg Mosque, the Sacred Heart Cathedral, the Old Orthodox Church, and the site of a former synagogue all sit within roughly 500 metres of each other. That density is not decorative. It reflects centuries of lived coexistence, not always peaceful, but always present. In most European cities, one empire replaced another. In Sarajevo, each one left its building standing and the next one built alongside. But Sarajevo is not a museum. It is a city where people drink coffee for 2 hours in the middle of the afternoon. Bosnian coffee is not espresso. It is brewed slowly in a jezva, poured carefully and meant to last. The ritual is the point. Conversation, pauses, another cup. This is how daily life moves through Sarajevo. In the evening, Ferhadiye Street fills with people walking slowly, the same promenade tradition found across the Balkans and the Mediterranean. Markets open early, coffee follows, then the long afternoon. Sarajevo runs on a rhythm that outsiders usually mistake for slowness. It is not slowness. It is a city that has survived enough to know how to live deliberately. Look up at the hillsides above the city and you will find something unexpected. Sarajevo hosted the 1984 Winter Olympics, one of the last great showcases of Yugoslav unity. The venues still dot the hillsides. Some are overgrown, some have been reclaimed for public use. All carry a particular weight of memory. They are a reminder that this city once represented an entire country's ambition, and that country no longer exists. Sarajevo is not a city that needs to explain its contradictions. It lives inside them. Ottoman, Austro-Hungarian, Yugoslav, modern. 4 layers in one walkable city, and each one still visible. If you want to understand why Bosnia is not the simple country outsiders imagine, Sarajevo is the proof. Sarajevo explains Bosnia by showing how layered coexistence works in practice. But there is another part of this country that tells the story from a completely different angle. And it starts with a map that most people refuse to believe. By now, the picture of Bosnia and Herzegovina has already shifted. Sarajevo showed how 4 civilizations can exist inside a single walkable city. But the episode is only halfway through, and the map still has a surprise. Most outsiders think of Bosnia as a mountainous, landlocked interior. They're almost right. Almost. Bosnia and Herzegovina has a coastline on the Adriatic Sea. It is 24 kilometers long. It splits Croatia in two, and it has existed since the 17th century. Most people who look at it for the first time assume the map is wrong. It is not. This coastline exists because of a treaty signed in 1699. The Treaty of Karlowitz ended a war between the Ottoman Empire and European coalition. The Republic of Ragusa, today's Dubrovnik, was a small maritime city-state wedged between two empires, Ottoman and Venetian. Ragusa ceded a narrow strip of its coastline to the Ottomans, deliberately, so that Ottoman territory would separate Ragusa from Venice. A 17th century diplomatic buffer, and that borderline never moved. It is still there today. So what does Bosnia's only seaside town actually look like? Neum is small, Mediterranean and unpretentious. Tourist hotels line a short waterfront. Families swim in the same Adriatic that Dubrovnik markets as luxury, 30 kilometers away. But drive 90 minutes inland and the landscape is unrecognizable. Green mountains, deep valleys, forest as far as you can see. That contrast is not a coincidence. The name says it, Bosnia and Herzegovina, two regions, two landscapes inside one country. Herzegovina is drier, hotter and built from stone. Its climate is closer to Dalmatia than to the Bosnian highlands an hour north. The architecture changes too. Stone houses, dry stack walls, vineyards on terraced slopes. It feels Mediterranean because it is. In 2022, Croatia completed the Pelješac Bridge, a bypass that lets Croatian traffic skip the Neum corridor entirely. The 300-year-old border anomaly was significant enough that a modern EU member state built a bridge to get around it. That tells you something about how much small borders matter in this part of Europe. Bosnia and Herzegovina is roughly the size of West Virginia, but inside that space the terrain changes faster than in countries 10 times its size. Rivers have carved deep gorges through the mountains. The Neretva, the Vrbas, the Una, each one shaped a different valley and a different way of living. Mountain villages above 2,000 meters are still inhabited in summer. Life up there follows a rhythm outsiders rarely see. Alpine meadows, river gorges, karst desert, and an Adriatic coast, all inside a country you can drive across in 4 hours. This is not a country that fits neatly into one landscape category. It never has. Neum is the clearest proof. A 17th century border deal gave Bosnia its coast, and 300 years later, the anomaly is still shaping European infrastructure. That single geographic anomaly changes how the entire country reads on a map, shifting the outline in a way that immediately stands out. Neum proves something that most outsiders miss about Bosnia. This country was never simple on the map, and it is not simple on the ground either. So if Bosnia carries Ottoman heritage, Habsburg architecture, an Adriatic coast and mountain wilderness, what kind of European country is it really? Most outsiders try to place Bosnia in one category: Balkan, post-conflict, emerging, but none of those labels hold for long. Mostar's starry most is the most photographed image of Bosnia, but what it actually represents is far more interesting than how it looks. The original bridge was built in 1566 by the Ottoman architect Mimar Hayruddin. It stood for over 4 centuries. In November 1993, it was destroyed during the Bosnian War, reduced to rubble in the heart of the city. 11 years later, in 2004, it was rebuilt, using the same local stone pulled from the Neretva riverbed. Today, people photograph it as if it were a relic. It is not. It is a statement that what was broken could be made whole again. But Mostar is only one face of Bosnia. Widen the view and the variety is immediate. Herzegovina's dry cast and Mediterranean stone, the green mountain interior where villages sit above 2,000 metres, river gorges deeper than anything in Western Europe. And now we come to the Adriatic coast, where pale stone towns meet clear blue water. All of it fits inside a country roughly the size of West Virginia, compact enough to cross in just a few hours. On paper, Bosnia and Herzegovina has one of the most complex governance structures in Europe. 2 entities, 10 cantons, 3 constituent peoples, a rotating presidency. Yet on the ground, daily life still runs on something older and simpler, in streets where routines follow familiar rhythms. In any Bosnian city, the day starts with coffee, served slowly at a cafe table, not with a quick espresso. Bosnian coffee, brewed slowly in a jezva poured into a small filjan, served with a cube of rahat lukum. The ritual is not rushed, it is not functional, it is social architecture. People sit, they talk, they refill. This is not a country that needs outsiders to explain it. Ottoman bazaars sit beside Habsburg facades, a mosque, a Catholic cathedral. And on the same city block, a mosque and an Orthodox church stand just steps apart. The evening walk fills the same streets every night. What outsiders call complexity, Bosnians call Tuesday. Bosnia and Herzegovina is not Balkan in the way outsiders imagine. It is not post-conflict in the way headlines suggest. It is a permanent European crossroads, a place where the continent's layers are visible, not hidden. The next time you look at a map of Europe, find the small country between Croatia and Serbia, and then look closer. Because what you see from a distance, a quiet valley ringed by mountains, is almost never what Bosnia and Herzegovina actually is. Before today, what did you assume about this country, and what here on the ground surprised you most?